Okay, this is the new Rapido GP-9M. You can see it's a little dark because I wanted to start out by showing the lights. The running lights below the engine and the number boards, the default is that they are on all the time. So far I've left that. F0 turns on the front headlight, and you can dim that with F7. Otherwise it doesn't change regardless of which direction you're going. It does also have the class lights. You can see red there. White. And green. It also has a reverse light, which is also a separate thing. It turns on and off regardless of direction and is bright or dim depending on how you have it set. Now we'll get some lights back on and check out the sound. Okay, we'll start out with the bell. And the horn. It also has a Doppler horn effect for grade crossings. And so far I've left everything at the default, except I felt the horn was a little too quiet, so I turned that volume up a little bit. Now let's see if we can start her up. I found the default momentum settings to be very nice, the way the engine revs up, and that's, I've so far left it just the way it is. Okay, let's take a look and see how slowly we can get this to go. I adjusted the speed CVs a tiny bit to reduce the top speed from about 78, 79 down to 64 scale miles an hour. I use 128 speed step throttle, so that way I figure each speed step's about half a mile an hour. And we'll see. We are getting it to run at speed step 2. Sometimes going very slowly, it's hard to actually read it. It might come up with an error, but let's see what it says. .6 miles per hour at speed step 2 of 128, I would say, is pretty darn good. Okay, we're in the dark again, and I'm going to go over a few of the changes I made. F0 still controls the front headlight, but I've set it up so that it's bright when it's going forward, dim when it's set to go in reverse, and the rear headlight is on dim either way. If you press now F4, the front headlight is on, but it's always dim. The rear one comes on bright when you're set in reverse. So when they're both set on, it's always bright in the direction of travel. I've also switched F3. Are now the marker lights. F6 turns on the ditch lights. F7 turns on the number boards. I think I forgot to turn on the ditch lights in the first one when I was showing you, but that was F6, the same as it has been. Now there are two lights that I still have that are set to go on when the engine starts up. The light in the cab and the ditch lights underneath, which aren't terribly bright. You might be wondering what the light is in the cab. That is actually the control panel. Even though Canadian National did chop the hood on the 7000 series of GP-9Ms, because they were going to use them as switchers, they didn't change the cab. So the cab is still set up to be long hood forward, even though the engine itself is set up with the short nose as being the front, and it's marked that way on the nose too. I increased the bass tone a bit, well, quite a bit actually, to try to get a little more thick sound out of it. Otherwise the horn, theoretically you have 14 horn choices, but I found that only 0, 1, and 2 actually changed. The rest from 2 to 14 or whatever all sound the same. The bell I've left the way it is, F1 and F5, still the Doppler horn. And F9, I've added move the brake there. A lot of the light settings are in the F-teens, even into the F-20s. So I found that was a little difficult. I'd rather have them all kind of available at once.